SFM HD2, New York.
Michael K. is on the radio today, and he ain't afraid to say what he's thinking. It's the Michael K. Show on 880 ESPN Radio.
And a good afternoon, everybody. This is indeed the Michael K. Show. We thank you for joining us on this Monday. It's June 1st. June 1st, 2026. It's me and you for two. Those are the rules of engagement. It's the fastest 2 hours in sports talk radio, and you know the password to get involved, right? Of course you do. 1-800-919-3776, 1-800-919-ESPN. Hope you had a great weekend. Mets had a great weekend, sweeping the Marlins. Yankees had a pretty good weekend, taking 2 out of 3 from the A's and a great road trip. They were 5-1 on a 6-game road trip. They have a day off today. The Mets begin a 3-game series in Seattle. Seems like the Mets have spent half of the first couple of months on the West Coast. I give them credit, but they did climb out of last place by sweeping the Marlins, dropping Miami into the last spot in the NL East. But the story today at the beginning is we have an NBA Finals matchup. We've been waiting a while because we knew the Knicks were in from the Eastern Conference Finals, and then the Spurs went into Oklahoma City and knocked off the defending NBA champions to take the Western Conference Championship, and it'll be like 1999 all over again because it'll be the Knicks against the Spurs for the NBA title. And I keep saying it, so this is the last time I guess I'll say it. Of the two teams, this is the one I wanted. And now the Knicks will play the third straight opponent on their way to a title that had to go 7 excruciating, high-intensity games in order to get here. It just keeps falling into place for the New York Knicks. You would think that this has been preordained from the basketball gods. The Celtics up 3-1. Sixers come back, win in 7, get swept by the Knicks. The Pistons going to a Game 7, tied 3 games apiece against the Cavaliers. The Cavaliers win that game. The Knicks sweep the Cavaliers. And now, the one team I thought that, I think these are both tough matchups, but the one that scared me the most was Oklahoma City because of their outside shooting. And if there's one thing that the Knicks defense, which has been better, has a little bit of a hole in, they're not that great at defending the 3. That was a problem all year. It's better in the playoffs, but I wanted to avoid Oklahoma City because they had 6 guys that could hurt you from downtown. Now, I'm not saying that the Spurs can't hit the 3-point shot, but that's not really as much of the game of the Spurs as it is the Thunder. So the Thunder lose to the Spurs, and the Knicks get at least the team I wanted. But the bottom line is whoever they played, it was going to be a 7-game series that the team that they play had to win in order to get into the NBA Finals. It's all coming up just the way you would design it if you were the Knicks. Now, I'm not saying the Knicks wanted the Spurs. No. I'm not saying that. I wanted the Spurs because I think that Wemby can be handled. Because if you look at the games when the Spurs lose, he kind of disappears. And the Spurs win when he dominates. So the domination aspect is certainly there. You can't take that away. You can't. But you can slow him down. Look at the 3 games that they lost to the Thunder. He was not the same player. And if you look at Jeremy Sohan of the Knicks, who spent the beginning part of his career in San Antonio, he said that you could wear Wemby down, and he's very good friends with Wemby. Somebody that height and somebody that thin can be worn down, and the Knicks have the defensive capabilities to wear him down. A lot depends on the health and the availability of Mitchell Robinson. Because I need that big body leaning on him, making him tired, making him work up and down the court, pushing the ball. Get him exhausted. They've got good players around him. I'm not saying it's a one-man band. Not saying that at all. But I think he can be handled. Is he going to have a couple of games in the series where he's unstoppable? Yes. But make him work. So I say I want Mitch leaning on him. I want Cat leaning on him. But the guy that's going to really guard him is going to be OG Anunoby. OG Anunoby can guard anybody. That's why he should have been first team all defense in the NBA. Got rooked out of that. Even Mike Brown said it. He is a superb defender at any position from 1 to 5. So defending a guy who's 7'4", 7'5", however you measure him, it's going to be tough. But he'll deny, he'll push, he'll use leverage. He's a really smart basketball player, really smart defensively. So the Knicks have a lot of ways that they can attack this guy. But attack, attack, attack. What they can't do is what Chet Holmgren did. He kind of wilted. He got scared away from that 8-foot wingspan. He would not go up against this guy. The Knicks have to go up against him. Make him work. Make him come out to the three-point circle because in all likelihood, he's going to be guarding Josh Hart. So the key to this series, with a lot of series too, because we saw it against the Cavaliers, they dared Josh Hart to shoot. Well, if Josh Hart happens to hit a couple of threes, all of a sudden, Wemby can't slough off into the paint. You've got to make him pay for the fact that they have him on the smaller Josh Hart. Notice they don't have him on Cat. They don't. They're going to have him on Hart. So that's going to be an important thing. Now, the series starts on Wednesday. We're going to break it down quite a bit as we move along. I'm excited about it. I'll give you my pick on Wednesday, the day of the game, but I'll tell you which way I'm leaning. I'm going to pick the Knicks. They're on a roll right now, and I don't think you're just on a roll and you disregard that. And I don't care about the long layoff. The long layoff is going to pay off for them. They are well rested. Really well rested. So I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's going to be a great series. The NBA should be thrilled. You have the new face of the NBA in Wembanyama, and then you have the New York Knicks. So if this series goes 6 games, you're going to have numbers like what baseball had for their World Series. And if it goes 7, forget about it. Forget about it. It's going to be unbelievable. NBA couldn't have drawn it up any better. Now, you can say, well, wouldn't it have been better if it was OKC, the defending champions, against the Knicks? No, I think this is better. Because as great as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is, and he's a 2-time defending NBA champion, a lot of people don't like watching that team because of the flopping and things like that. I think people are fascinated by Wembanyama. They really are. Fascinated by him. They want to watch him. And the Knicks are really a tough team to dislike. I know a lot of fans don't like teams from New York because they're from New York. Well, let them have that. But the Knicks are a tough team to dislike. The Knicks are a fun team. They work hard. They're not a bunch of braggarts. They're not all about me. It's about we. It's going to be a good watch. ABC got itself a really good NBA Finals. Now, if it ends up being a 4-game sweep one way or the other, that takes a lot of the luster away. The reason that Major League Baseball got such a highly viewed World Series, it went 7 games, and not only that, not 7 games, but 7 games into extra innings. It had everything you want because a finals or a championship round is only as good as the storylines that it elicits. And the longer a series goes, the better storylines that show up. I think there's a bunch of them here. How do you stop Wemby? How are they going to stop Brunson? Now, that's one thing that they can do with the players they have. They have a lot of good, young, athletic guards. And I mean young. 20, 21, 22. They've got guys that could really put some pressure on them. But the Knicks showed against the Cavaliers, it doesn't have to be about Brunson in order to get it done. It doesn't. He can get it done, or he can have others get it done. Knicks are a very varied offense. Do you know who was the second highest scorer in the Cavalier series? It was OG. Averaged just under 20 points a game. So, yeah, Brunson's the guy. He's the guy who's going to have the ball in his hand with the game on the line. But you can get your points other places with the Knicks. Cat, OG, Mikal Bridges has emerged as an offensive threat as well during the postseason. McBride off the bench. They get guys who could fill it up. So I hope you're excited. I hope you're as excited as I am about this upcoming series. It should be a blast. 1-800-919-3776. We'll get more into specifics as we get closer to the game. Certain matchups that, might concern us. I wonder if Knicks fans feel as confident as I do. Now, I don't think by any stretch of the imagination that the Knicks are the favorites. They're not. Now, they could be not as much of an underdog as we thought, because I think a lot of people are convinced that the Knicks are really good. And the Spurs haven't been here. Now, neither of the Knicks, but remember, the Spurs last year, they were in the lottery. This year, they were in the NBA Finals. Last year, the Knicks got to Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and they thought they should have gone to the Finals. Alan Hahn spoke about a going-away party, so to speak, that they had after they lost to the Pacers last year. And they all said, next year we get back together and we finish this off. Because they didn't think, well, little engine that could. We fell short. That's as far as we could go. They felt they should have been in the finals last year. And we're going to hear a lot about 1999, too. And I don't think we should. Because there's one comparison. Well, Wemby is 22, and Tim Duncan was 22 in 1999. Okay, great. The Knicks didn't have Patrick Ewing. He had torn his Achilles. Larry Johnson's knee was busted up. That was not a fully healthy Knicks team. And the Spurs handled them. Other than Mitchell Robinson's mysterious hand injury, and we find out over the weekend, it doesn't look like it's pinky. It looks like it's his hand. Like the side, like underneath the pinky, which would be called a hand injury, not a pinky injury. Other than that, they're in really good health because they've taken care of business. They fell down 2 games to one of the Hawks. They won the last 3 in a row, so that was done in 6. Sixers were done in 4. Cavaliers were done in 4. They've had 2 separate layoffs that total about 18, 19 days. I mean, when do you get that? As I said, it's as if the basketball gods have ordained that this is the Knicks season. And I don't want to hear it from anybody. Listen, you're a co-host, so you can bring up whatever comment you want. But I don't want to hear about, who did they beat? They beat the teams that were in front of them. You don't knock the Knicks for beating the teams that were in front of them. And again, keep in mind this one thing. The teams that were in front of them were the teams that beat the teams that you didn't want to play, that you were concerned about playing. The Sixers came back from 3 games to 1 against the Celtics. Celtics were the team, they were going to get revenge for the Knicks beating them last year. Well, they couldn't beat the Sixers, and then the Knicks embarrassed the Sixers. Then we were worried about the Pistons. Well, the Pistons beat them up during the regular season, and then they're going to want revenge for being knocked out in the first round last year. Well, you know what? The Cavaliers went into Detroit and embarrassed the Pistons, the team that no one wanted the Knicks to play. And then what did the Knicks do to the Cavaliers? They embarrassed them. So don't tell me about they haven't played anybody. They played the teams that beat the teams that no one wanted the Knicks to play. And now, if they beat the Spurs, well, they didn't beat the defending champions. Well, the Spurs went into Oklahoma City and beat the team that no one wanted to see the Knicks play. Not the Knicks' fault. It's those teams' fault. It's those teams' fault. The Knicks have done everything that you could possibly want them to do. And if you don't like it, and if you're looking for the negative, you know what you are? You're one of 2 things. You either don't like the Knicks, and that's fine. Not everybody's a Knicks fan. Or you're a hater. You're a troll. You're just trying to get a rise out of people. You want to see what reaction you could get. Well, who have they beaten? They've beaten the teams in front of them. And I keep going back to this. A lot of Yankee fans even. Oh, I don't count the 2024 World Series going to the World Series. Who did they beat? They beat the teams in front of them. They didn't schedule them. This wasn't homecoming game where they scheduled the Division II team. No. They beat the teams that were in front of them. You play the entire season, you get seeded, teams play each other, and then you see who gets knocked out. The Knicks have handled business, and if they win a championship, there is a luster on this championship the same way there was in 1970 and 1973. Sorry, it is. And if you don't think so, that's a you issue. That's not a Nick issue. That's a you issue. Got it? Let's line up the calls. 1-800-919-3776. Time to co-host the event. Now, before we get to the calls, right before we went on the air, and Dan Grassa and Bart Scott were talking about it, the Giants have announced, and it was broken first by our very own Adam Schefter, that Odell Beckham Jr. is signed with the Giants. Now, do I love the move? No, but I was surprised at how negative both Dan and Bart were about it. No harm, no foul. He comes into camp. If he's got nothing left, he's done. There's nothing invested in him but a little bit of money. What's the harm? It's a hedge against neighbors not being ready. You give another target to Jackson Dart. The guy used to be dynamic. I think with all the injuries he's had and not playing last year, he's not going to be nearly the player that the Giant fans remember. So if you think you're getting that Odell Beckham Jr., you're not. But why go crazy over it? Why be so negative about it? Well, they should have done something better. Well, it's kind of late in the game now. The draft is over. I don't think anybody's trading their wide receiver at this point. So this guy's out there on the market. It's worth a shot. I mean, they're going to be in some issues anyway if Malik Neighbors, who's now had a second surgery, doesn't come back. Because I don't think that Odell Beckham Jr. is going to fill the slot that's going to be there for Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is the game breaker that Jackson Dart needs. And if he's not ready, they've got an issue. Because the drop from Neighbors to Slayton is a pretty big drop. But I'm not going to go crazy on this. I don't think it's a signing that could hurt anybody. And for some reason, Harbaugh has a great relationship with Beckham. Says one of his favorite people he's ever dealt with. You take away the boat trip. You take away the dances. You take away all that. If you ever have a chance, I've seen it on the internet a couple of times. There's a highlight video of some of the plays that Odell Beckham Jr. made when he was in his prime with the Giants. And it was breathtaking how good this guy was. Absolutely breathtaking. Again, he's 33. I don't think it's going to be anything close to that. But there's still some skill there, you would think. And he had a whole year off. And by having a whole year off, his body's in good shape, you would think, right? So I don't feel awful about this signing. I'm not euphoric about it either. But to bash it, that I don't get because, no harm, no foul. If it doesn't work out, he's gone. All right, let's get to you. Let's start with Henry in the truck. Henry, start it up, baby.
Hey, Michael K., it's an honor to speak to you. How you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm feeling great as a Knicks fan. I just want to ask you, have you ever seen a coaching adjustment done by another coach after – I'm comparing this to the Game 3 after Atlanta. I was ready to run out Mike Brown out of New York. I was, angry. I was convinced the Knicks were done. But I don't know what happened, what he did. And I want to know if you've ever seen anything like this.
Well, I can't recall. People have made adjustments, Henry, but what he did by running the offense through Cat. And then the thing I like about Brown, there doesn't seem to be an ego there. He's been around. He's been the assistant coach on a lot of championship teams. He's taken the Cavaliers to a title. They didn't win the title, but he took them to the NBA Finals. This is what Dolan and Rose wanted. They wanted a collaborative guy who wasn't going to fight back against suggestions. And if you believe the stories, it was Cat that came in, and say, why don't you run the offense through me? And no ego there. I don't know if Tibbs does that. Tibbs was a man of his beliefs, and he wasn't going to change because the player said, well, let's change this up. But Cat felt that was the best way to go, and Brown said, let's try it, and it worked. And it got them through that Atlanta series. Atlanta ended up being their toughest opponent. So I think Brown's collaboration, his ability to unify his coaching staff and listen to his players, I think it's a big, big part of the success. Let's go to Gooch in Plainfield. Gooch.
Hey, Mike, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Long time listening, man.
Thank
All
you.
right. Hey, Mike, I've been following the Knicks since '69, right?
Okay.
I go back with Dave the Bushy, Dollar Bill, all of them, right? But I'm telling you, I know the Knicks only played who's in front of them. But, Mike, they got some different breed of cats that's coming at them, man. They coming at them, Mike. The Knicks going down,
Gooch,
man.
I will give you that.
Man.
I will give you that. This is the best team they're going to play. But
Yeah.
they did beat them 2 out of 3 in the regular season.
The Knicks better get one of the first two. Because if they don't get one of them first two, Mike, 5, gentlemen. It's going to be gentlemen because Knicks ain't going to want to lose at home. So they'll get one of them 3 or 4. But it's over in 5, Mike.
So are you a Knicks fan, Gooch?
I've been following Pooch. I've been following the Knicks since '69. I'm telling you, they my boys. But I know basketball. I'm telling you, they're good, and I'm proud of them. But it just ain't this time, man. It ain't the matchup they want, man. It's not there, man. It's not there. They got too many cats to throw at Jalen. They're going to be coming at them in waves, So somebody else going to have to step up. And I wouldn't put my nope, wouldn't do it. But you heard it here first, Mike.
All right, you know what? When it happens, my friend, I want you to call back, and I'll give you your flowers. I really will. I think, I don't criticize the Knicks for who they played. But I will admit this. This is the best team they've played in this run. And you have to beat a great team to win a championship. This is the best team that came out of the Western Conference, and the Western Conference is better than the Eastern Conference this year. So they had more of a battle to get here, and they beat the defending champion. So the Spurs are really, really good. I'm not saying that they're not. As I said, I'm leaning toward picking the Knicks. I don't know in how many games. I think it's going to be a longer series. But the Spurs present some problems. You got Fox, you got Castle, Harper, Vassell. You've got Champagne. You got Barnes. I mean, you've got a lot of players other than Wemby. Absolutely, you do. So I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Never said that. Never even intimated it. But I think the Knicks are ready for anything. They are. Now, they beat them 2 out of 3. They beat them in the NBA Cup. Remember, in the NBA Cup, Wemby was coming back from injury, so they had him on a little bit of a innings limit. We'll see. We will see. I think this guy can be tired out. His former teammate Sohan said he can be tired out. I think the Knicks have the bodies to run at him to make him fatigued. That's an odd body. Now, that body makes him the alien that he is, makes him the defensive force that he is, but it also can be worn down. You got to be physical with him. You can't be dirty with him, but you got to be physical with him and make him have those bad games. Take a look at the games the Spurs lose in the postseason. He kind of disappears. He'll score 14, 15. He'll still be a force defensively, but it's when he scores in the high 20s, maybe goes into the 30s, that then they become an unbeatable force. So let's say they get those 3 subpar games from him. Make it 4. And then you got an NBA title. Make it 4. Make him work. Make him sweat. I can't wait. You guys know I'm a big NBA fan. Right after baseball, I love the NBA. So I just can't wait for the artistry of this. And not only the artistry, but the scientific nature of how each coach is going to go after the other and how they're going to try to take away the best things from the other team. Can't wait. Now, coming up, we're going to shift to some baseball. This guy coming up, to me, is the absolute best radio talk show guest talking baseball, and that's John Smoltz. He's unbelievable. A lot of people don't like him on games. I don't know why. But on radio talk shows, he just spits information. We're talking about everything going on in Major League Baseball coming up in just a moment. At 2 o'clock, more NBA. We'll talk to our good friend Frank Isola, and we'll get his breakdown of what's important in this series and who he likes as well. Hey, FanDuel is giving you better payouts on same-game parlays all NBA playoffs long. With more ways to build and more value every time you play, you can stack your picks your way for every game, every matchup, and every moment. From spreads to player points to threes and more, build it all into one same-game parlay and go for bigger payouts. So if you're betting same-game parlays this NBA postseason, bet them on FanDuel. More options, better payouts, all NBA playoffs long. Head to FanDuel.com/local to get started. FanDuel, an official partner of the NBA. Play your game. 21 plus and physically present in New York. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
Monday with Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. It's a rematch of 1999 as the Knicks will face the Spurs in the NBA Finals.
The Spurs got their work put out for them. I'm not saying that it's not going to go the distance, but right now I'm leaning more towards the Knicks winning this series in 7, to be honest with you.
Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg today at 3 on ESPN New York and streaming live on YouTube.
Hey, New York, are you okay to drive? No, really. Did you know just one drink can lower your inhibitions, slow reaction times, and reduce coordination? That single drink causes your judgment to be altered and makes it harder to track moving objects. The risk you take by getting behind the wheel is not worth your life or anyone else's. Call a cab.
Hey, I'm looking for a cab.
A ride share, a sober friend, or take public transit. The New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee is reminding you to always drive sober.
Wherever your day takes you, across New Jersey, into New York, or down to Philadelphia, New Jersey Transit gets you there. Skip the traffic and stay on track. With busy travel periods ahead, plan ahead, check schedules, and allow extra time for your trip. From work days to weekends, New Jersey Transit keeps your routine moving with reliable, convenient service. Ride smart. Plan your trip at njtransit.com.
Well, it feels like everyone's getting knocked out by this cold and flu season, and we're not even done yet. People are getting hit harder and taking longer to recover. That's why I got so excited when I heard about this. I actually ordered one myself. I didn't even know something like this existed. A medical emergency kit that you can have at home before you get sick. Now, joining us now is Dr. Kelly Victory, Chief of Emergency and Disaster Medicine at the Wellness Company. Thank you for joining us, Doctor.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, the Wellness Company has developed tools like the medical emergency kit to help people take control of their own health. What's really the mission behind that?
You're precisely correct. We decided that we should put into the hands of individuals the ability to be self-sufficient to a certain extent when it comes to things regarding their health for themselves and their families.
So what makes a medical emergency kit different from the usual kit that you find at a pharmacy?
Our kits have, as I said, prescription medications. The typical first aid kit has lots of helpful things, including Band-Aids and, for example, ways to treat wounds, but they don't include antibiotics, antivirals, medications, again, prescription medications for nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, ways to treat allergic reactions. A number of our kits, for example, come with an option to have an EpiPen if you or one of your loved ones has a severe allergy to nuts or other allergens. That's something that is critically important to have on hand. It takes the onus, responsibility off of you to find an open pharmacy or, God forbid, emergency department or urgent care when an emergency strikes.
Well, I didn't even know that this was an option, and it just makes sense to be ready before something hits. So we thank you so much, Dr. Victory.
Thank you. This is what we call rational readiness, and it makes good sense for everyone.
Terrific. If you want to be prepared and have a medical emergency kit at home, you can go to urgentcarekit.com/880 and use promo code 880 to save $45.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by tax relief advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with the BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-9087. 800-575-9087. That's 800-575-9087 or simply visit TRA.com.
Welcome back to the show. Before we are joined by our special guest, John Smoltz, just a seismic deal going down in the NFL. Right before we broke for commercial, the Cleveland Browns are trading Myles Garrett, the Defensive Player of the Year, who just set the single-season sacks record with 23 last year. They are trading him to the L.A. Rams for a 2027 first-round pick and Jared Verse, who happens to be an excellent player as well. So Todd Monken, who just took over the Browns' job, decided they're going to go into a little bit of a rebuild. They send their best defensive player to the Rams. Rams always going for it, making a big deal right here. They don't seem like they care that much about draft picks all that much. So they send a first-rounder in next year's draft, and Jared Verse, again, a very good player, for Myles Garrett, who has 125.5 career sacks. In 9 seasons with the Browns made just 2 playoff appearances with Myles Garrett. So a seismic trade in the NFL. Myles Garrett going to the Rams. It's been a very interesting baseball season so far. And as I said earlier, there aren't many people that are better guests to talk baseball than John Smoltz, who does the big games for Fox, and he joins us right now on the Michael K Show. Hey, John, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on, Michael.
Obviously, there's an affinity that you have in a connection with the Atlanta Braves. I never thought, John, that the Braves, with all of their injuries, were going to have a great season this year. And not only that, they're having an unbelievable season. Did this take you by surprise?
A little bit, but if you look at last year and how bad it was, they went 0-9. Everything that go wrong did go wrong. Injuries throughout the lineup. I thought offensively they could make up for some of the arms waiting to come back. And just by natural, chances, probability, they were going to have a much better year. Now, to the fact that I think they set a record with the earliest 9 or 10 game lead in a division, that is the perfect storm for everybody else. So you couple that with a good start, a new manager, and some pretty good arms, they feel pretty good about not only their chances moving forward, but the fact that they can compete with anybody.
Were you surprised, A, they went with Weiss when Snitker stepped aside and retired, and did you think it would be as seamless as it's been with Walt Weiss?
Yeah, Walt played for Bobby. Walt's been in the organization now. He had his first tenure as a manager, of course, out in Colorado. A lot of things he's been able to learn, transition the information, the new era, with the way that the game is being kind of managed, if you will. He understands and commands the room, and certainly no better than that when the little dust up, he took a former teammate of his and made him look like he was 5'0". So there's a lot of things that go in with Walt Weiss and why I think he works for the organization and for players. And I think it's a perfect transition to an organization that does not and has not had many managers.
Are you surprised by how bad the Mets have been? Now, they had a good weekend, so they finally climb out of last place. But does the fact that they've struggled as mightily as they have, did that take you by surprise?
Yeah, it has. But everybody who, again, puts things down on paper and everyone has the answers on paper don't understand the nuances of a clubhouse, cohesiveness, getting along. You got personalities that sometimes work and don't. You got all the different data points that the output of a player can provide, but that can be messed up and turned upside down if your locker room's not connected. If from the top to the bottom there's not an understanding of what it takes, I don't care how talented a club is. There are places where it works and there are places where it shows its ugly head. And New York is one of those places. It's either going to be a great marriage or it's going to be awful. And I think that place that is trying to be relevant, that is always trying to compete with the Yankees, and now they're spending more than they have, and they're trying to outdo certain clubs, it definitely makes itself look worse when you have high star power that either gets along or doesn't get along, or produces or doesn't produce. It's instant in New York. There's nowhere to hide. And that's one place that not every personality can exceed in.
Am I crazy, John, to think that they're not out of it yet? I mean, there are 3 wild card spots, and the National League's pretty tough, but they're not that far. I think it's 5.5 right now to the final wild card spot. I think that the talent is there that they could make a run, or am I nuts?
No, the talent's there. I mean, they're going to have to get healthy, and they're going to have to do some things really quickly to navigate this scenario and the hole that they put themselves in. So I just don't know if they've got enough time with the pitching injuries that they have. And certainly, there's going to be a lot to be told here before June. And once June ends, you're going to know one way or another which direction they're going.
Now, you mentioned they're, competing for eyeballs with the Yankees and attention as well. The Yankee season so far, from what you've seen, what's your impressions on that team?
I think the Yankees have done the best they could do with not signing the star player that they had in Soto, and they've a well more rounded team than ever before. And I think that is going to equip them for a longer run. I've always said about the Yankees, if they can cut down their strikeouts, they're going to be fine. And now that they've got a healthier rotation, or at least going to be healthier, I think they've got an opportunity to do something. The American League's wide open. They're the favorites. I think everybody would agree they're the favorites. And if they can do the little things that take you to the next level, and almost got them there last year and almost did it, of course, against the Dodgers, they're going to be right where they need to be.
What's your take on Schlittler? I mean, he might start the All-Star game. He's so electric, John. What are your thoughts on watching him so far?
I just worry about maintaining the max effort throughout the whole season. I think he's one of the most dynamic young pitchers that if he could learn how to navigate and handle a 162 schedule, he is going to be the elite pitcher we're talking about. And I'm telling you right now that I'm a huge fan. And so if he gets through 162, then the sky's the limit for this young man.
Now, you went through, the surgery that Garrett Cole's come back from. And, John, the first 2 starts, his command is there. The ball's coming out of his hand. He's throwing 98 miles an hour. He is, 34, 35 years old. Are you surprised he's been this good this early? And what are some of the pitfalls of coming back from that surgery?
The pitfalls is you're not going to be this dominant all the time. I mean, this guy knows how to pitch. He's an elite pitcher, and he's going to understand that pitching and whatever tools he has now is going to only get better and better as the time and the stresses and the elbows keep happening. So I think he's elite, and I think he's going to benefit as we get closer to the end of the season. But don't expect every single start to be like this until he gets used to a couple things that his elbow is going through.
Now, you're very familiar with Mac Fried's game from the time with the Braves, and he was pitching great for the Yankees. Then he had that elbow problem crop up. If he's okay, John, could that be a benefit that you take a month and a half out of the workload and he could go into the postseason fresher?
There's no doubt that could be a benefit. But I think, again, a veteran pitcher, he's going to know how to handle whatever time he's away and how to get ready for the right situations, for sure.
Now, you warned me of this when we talked in the winter about the ABS. You said the one person that shouldn't challenge is the pitcher. And so far when pitchers challenge, other than Max Fried, who's been pretty good at it, it has not been a good result. So far, do you like the ABS or not?
I love it. I'm sorry I got to move real quick, but I love it. I think that the challenge of 2 is perfect. Don't let it go more than 2. I would struggle with players that absolutely are selfish to the point where they have this desire to get it right when it doesn't have time and space and context. Mm-hmm. And I think if they could just figure out how to control those guys and save it for the marquee situations, the stressful situations that mean more for the team, I just think don't ever allow this to go to a full test of doing the strike zone, because I'm telling you right now, if you think hitting's tough now, it's impossible to be able to hit with this system. But I love it the way it is right now.
It is an interesting byproduct of the system, though, John. We've seen walks go up. You can't fool the umpire anymore, and it makes the games longer. So I like the ABS too, but the unintended consequence is a little concerning. Is it for you?
It is, and that's what you're going to see, how this thing sways back and forth, because the unintended consequences in baseball through certain rule changes are going to cause the league to look at it over time and see if it's something that it will self-correct or something they're going to have to add a little bit more or tweak a little bit more. You're 100%, the walk rate's up, but that's a byproduct also of pitchers not exactly knowing what the strike zone is, and hitters now recognizing that there's more value in not swinging outside the strike zone and recognizing paying attention. All these things are going to happen in time, and either self-correct or the league will manipulate something to make it in their advantage so that they don't see something go in the wrong direction.
I'm sure you've been asked this 1,000 times. We're talking with John Smoltz, the Hall of Famer here on the Michael Kay Show. Greg Maddux knew how to push the envelope on the outside and the inside corner. Would he have been as great with the ABS system where, if he got an outside call, the batter could challenge?
Here's my argument with that. It's a great question, and certainly he'd be impacted. But with 2 being the challenge, good luck. Good luck on the umpire, good luck on the hitter. Because he can make everything look so tantalizing that you're going to have to be right 100% of the time. Now, if it's a full-blown ABS system, yeah, everyone's going to suffer. Pitchers that can pitch to the top of the zone and be elite with breaking balls, they're going to be successful. But I think anybody at any time you have to put pressure on one entity or one area of the ball club, nobody did it better than Greg Maddux. So I don't think he would have put as much as people think on paper would have been an obvious answer.
All right, so John, you're going to again be in the 2026 American Century Championship. I know you love golf. You golfed when you were a player, and you've been golfing during your retirement as well from baseball. So what about this field? It's the 37th annual championship, celebrity golf, and what are you feeling about this one coming up?
Well, I love it. It's the competition I have left. I want to take golf to the next level. This championship, American Century does an incredible job. We get an unbelievable array of celebrities. I finished second about the same amount of times that my career kind of raised.
Oh, no. We lost John. Hopefully we'll get
the oldest winner. I'm just going to speak it. I'm going to speak it into existence.
Now, Steph Curry won in 2023. Were you impressed with his golf game?
He's outstanding, and he had a sport that takes up most of his time. So, unfortunately, for Steph in the playoffs, NBA championship, he doesn't have his game as sharp. This year, of course, he wasn't in the playoffs, so he's going to be locked in and ready, practicing. He's got a dynamic flair for the game. He won in dramatic fashion. He had a hole-in-one. He holed out for an eagle on the last hole. He's just got it. And hope to play with him. Hope it's relevant that we're in the last group together.
All right, so if you have a chance to win this championship, obviously baseball was obviously your way you made a living. Would you feel as much pressure as you did in the World Series?
Yeah. Way more. I never felt the pressure in the World Series as I stepping on a golf course and trying to make a putt, trying to do something under the gun. This becoming more commonplace. I'm not as nervous as much as I once was, but it's just about you. No teammate can bail you out. No manager comes, takes you out, and brings somebody in to help or secure a win. Golf is golf. I'm addicted to it, and I want to take it to the highest level because what I learned on the field can be applied on the course, but it's all about you.
John, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck in this, and hope to talk to you soon. Always great stuff from you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You got it. So that tournament has raised over $8 million for charity, and it's airing on Peacock and NBC July 10th through the 12th, and there's $750,000 in prize money at stake. Galleries get up to 70,000 people. That's expected. So it's kind of super interesting. Smoltz does play in PGA Tour senior events. Tony Romo's going to be in it. He plays in PGA Tour events. Jerry Rice, Steph Curry, all going to be there, and it should be fun. So I'm glad that John could join us, talk about that a little bit. Annika Sorenstam will also play as well. Would have talked to John a little bit longer, but the connection was getting a little fuzzy there. But good stuff from him. And he does think that the Maddux would be great even with ABS. 1-800-919-3776. We'll come back, take more of your phone calls. Frank Isola at 2 o'clock. It's the Kay Show right here on ESPN New York.
First, I take a sabbatical, then do absolutely nothing.
Glorious. But what? You'd win the New York lottery, then do nothing?
Well, I'd also commission a cutting-edge mobile bed, so I never stop doing nothing, even when I leave my house.
Okay, but how can you do even less?
Well, I'll spend 6 months living with a Honduran Capuchin monkey troupe to learn how to pick things up with my feet, so I never have to lift a finger again.
Oh, you'll be a hit at dinner parties. New York Lottery. Can you imagine? Play today. Please play responsibly. Must be 18 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Call Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now or go to carsforkids.org.
7 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
If you think a new central air conditioning system is out of your budget, think again. Slomin's is here to change the game with their preseason super sale. They're now offering cutting-edge 18-SEER 2026 refrigerant-compliant R45 4B systems expertly installed by their certified technicians, all at the lowest prices of the year. That's right. Get started with 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 18 months. Plus, they're including a comprehensive service plan for 5 years, including annual system checks, filter replacement, and refrigerant to keep your AC running smoothly all summer long. Call Slomin's today at 516-932-7000 for your free estimate. But hurry, these cool savings won't last. That's 516-932-7000 or visit ac.slomans.com. 18-month promo period, no payment, no interest, and no down payment offer. The offer is available through a third-party bank. On approved credit, interest is waived if loan is repaid in full during the same as cash period. Terms and conditions apply. New York City, get ready as Fanatics Fest returns to the Javits Center July 16th through the 19th, right in the middle of the biggest sports weekend of the summer. With more than 500 athletes and celebrities, every major league, and hundreds of thousands of fans for the ultimate sports fan experience. Get your exclusive merch, rare trading cards, free photo ops, and a full tailgate zone all weekend long. Grab your tickets before they're gone at fanaticsfest.com.
Evan Cohen here. In life, as in sports, the pros make it look easy. That's why pro golfers like Jason Day, Ben Griffin, and Patton Kazire trust the pros in lawn care. True Green. They have the experience and expertise to give you a lawn worthy of the PGA Tour. And since True Green does the work for you, you get more free time, or more tee times. So stop stressing over your lawn and start loving it. Sign up now at TrueGreen.com because nobody makes it easier to get a golf course quality lawn than True Green, the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour.
Every 40 seconds, a child is reported missing. Find the Children is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping find missing kids. You can be a part of their mission by donating your unwanted car. Call 1-800-294-0222. You'll receive the maximum tax deduction, and we provide fast, free pickup. Call 1-800-294-0222. Donate your unwanted or unused car. Call 1-800-294-0222. This advertisement was paid for in partnership with Cars R Us and Find the Children.
For the first time since 1999, the Knicks are headed to the NBA Finals.
And the 27-year wait is over. They will play for the Larry O'Brien Trophy. 4 wins away from an NBA championship.
This group got tighter and more accountable as the days got closer to June.
Thanks to all our New York Knicks partners this season, including New York Presbyterian, NYC Department of Corrections, Boost Mobile, and the Parisman Firm on ESPN New York.
Man, June 1st, there's a lot of football stuff going on. Now Adam Schefter reporting that the Giants, in addition to signing Odell Beckham Jr. today, they've signed JuJu Smith-Schuster today. And they have Braxton Berrios as well. So what they've done is they've thrown a lot of solutions at a problem. And hopefully one of them sticks. I don't have a problem with it at all. This isn't big money roll of the dice. This is a high upside, no downside. Have them in camp, see what they have left, see if they contribute, see if they fit into the culture that you're trying to build, and get it going. So you got Odell Beckham to the Giants, back to the Giants. You have JuJu Smith-Schuster to the Giants. And right before we talk to John Smoltz, Myles Garrett has been traded to the LA Rams. If you consider how close the LA Rams got to the Super Bowl last year, and you realize with the addition of this guy, having to block him, and the offense that they have as well, I'd say that they're one of the favorites to get there. Now, does that solve the problem of Seattle? Because that's who beat them in the opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. Does that slow down Seattle's offense? Myles Garrett is a beast. And it's a good move for the Jets because the Jets play the Browns, I believe, in October. Now they don't have to block Myles Garrett. They do have to block Jared Verse, who, as I mentioned when we announced the deal, is also a very, very good defender, and they get a first-round draft pick in 2027. But I just love the way they operate in L.A. They're not saving draft picks. Even though they had a first-round draft pick this year, they took a flyer on a quarterback that might not even play for 3 years because Matthew Stafford is there. So their first-round draft picks don't move heaven and earth for them. So they gave one up in 2027 and a good player in verse in order to get a Hall of Famer in Myles Garrett. So that's a big move, and the Giants are taking little incremental moves. Getting those wide receivers, it's smart. Again, as I mentioned, I was listening to Bart and Dan Grosser filling in for the vacationing Chris Carlin, and they were really against Beckham coming in. Now, Beckham could be a pain in the rear. The trip before the Green Bay game, we know the whole story. But he was also on a Super Bowl team. He got hurt in the Super Bowl, but he was very effective up to that point when he got hurt, and they won the title. Didn't do that well with the Ravens, but that's where he had the relationship with Harbaugh, and Harbaugh loves him so much he wanted to bring him in. And you knew that when he showed up at Brian Burns' softball tournament over the weekend that he was going to end up with the Giants, and he did. And now, later on in the day, they signed JuJu Smith-Schuster. So I like what the Giants are doing. 1-800-919-3776. Let's go to the phones. David on the east side. David.
All right, Michael, I'm calling to apologize and say that I was wrong.
How so?
Well, last time I called, you ripped me for saying Austin Wells should DH.
Yes.
Fair enough. In my defense, I will say I didn't know what Joe Girardi had told you, which is that catching on one leg doesn't cause fatigue. Who am I to question Joe Girardi? That's great. If that's the case, it wasn't the greatest idea to begin with, but certainly not on the table. But I will say this. Austin Wells has the same WAR right now as John Belushi's GPA in Animal House, 0.0. Something has got to change, even if it's trading for another catcher. I don't know what the answer is, but we cannot win a World Series with a black hole like this in the lineup. And I get really worried that the longer this goes on, the more the Yankees are going to be tempted to put Ben Rice behind the plate, which I think would be a very bad idea.
Well, I talked to Boone about that on Saturday, David, and he doesn't look like he's ready to do that. Because as effective as Goldschmidt has been, that would be the easy move, right? Especially when Stanton comes back. So Stanton's the DH. Goldschmidt's at first. He's a better defender than Rice, and Rice seems very comfortable as a DH. And Rice has seemed very comfortable even DHing, but then you move him behind the plate. I don't think they want to risk it. First of all, he was never a great defender behind the plate. Then he's got to take on the aspect of calling games, working with the pitchers, which Austin Wells does a great job of. The catching offensively is an issue for the Yankees. Yankees, as you heard John Smoltz say, he would say they're the favorite to come out of the American League and represent them in the World Series. But there's an issue there. Austin Wells has not done it offensively. I don't understand it. I think the Yankees get it. And to show you how significant it is, Aaron Boone has not pulled any punches when it comes to Austin Wells. He said there should be more there. Usually he puts a happy face on a lot of things. He never wants to call out his players. And although he's not calling out Austin Wells, he's certainly not putting lipstick on a pig here. He's not trying to convince us, well, he's hitting the ball hard and he's hitting in bad luck. No, he's just saying he's got to be better than this. So right now, defensively, the Yankees are okay behind the plate. Both Escara and Wells are very good receivers. Offensively, it is a black hole. It's troubling. I don't know what to tell you. But making him the DH is not the answer either. Let's go to Dylan in Levittown. Dylan.
Hey, Michael. Thanks for taking the call. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good. I wanted to get your Yankee opinion. So, obviously, I'm guessing Cashman will do something with the bullpen near the deadline. Assuming that, the Astros decide maybe to sell, I know the Yankees are very, they're not they're very in with the salary cap and everything. Do you think there's any chance maybe if the Astros say if you take Hader's salary, and then they don't have to give up a prospect, or maybe even they would go for a high leverage Abreu, or it would probably be someone more middle class reliever, do you think?
I like the way you're thinking, Dylan, but I don't think I would roll the dice on Hader. He has 3 more years at $20 million a year. He's been hurt already this season. He's very fragile in the sense that You can't really push him that much. And when the Astros did push him, he ended up going on the IL and still, struggling with that at the beginning of the year. So I don't know if I would go with Hader. That would not be my way. I think the Yankees are going to try to solve this issue internally first. So they'll do the internal aspect of it maybe middle of June, July, before the trade deadline, before they pull the trigger on a trade for a reliever. But I don't know. I don't know if I go with Hader. I don't. I just that's too much money. And remember, the Yankees are over the final threshold. So if you acquire Hader at $20 million, that's $40 million. And I think that teams are going to be very careful, because if there is going to be a new CBA and if there is going to be some restriction on salary that you could spend, you're going to have to dig out of that hole. I mean, you're going to have to get rid of a lot of big-time contracts to get under the hard cap. Now, I know there's going to be some grandfathering in there, but getting a $20 million a year pitcher who still has many years left on his contract and has been injury-prone and is very peculiar about when he could be used, I don't think that's my answer. I just don't. Game Time, brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, because when it's game time, it's Tully time. Just one game locally tonight, 9:40, the Mets are in Seattle to play the Mariners. Coverage begins at 9 p.m. It'll be right here on 880 ESPN, and you can watch it on SNY. Tullamore Dew, the original triple distilled, triple blended, triple cask matured Irish whiskey. Be sure to grab a Tullamore Dew. Try the new Tullamore Dew Honey during today's action. Glasses up to enjoying Tullamore Dew responsibly. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk to Frank Isola. He has his own Sirius XM show. He covered the Knicks for many, many years during some of the tough times and the good times as well. So I want to get his take on the NBA Finals matchup between the Knicks and the Spurs, because one of those teams is going to party like it's 1999. Soccer fans, join Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg for a live broadcast presented by Milagro Tequila. It's all happening on Friday, June 12th at Platt Deutsch in Franklin Square, Long Island. Get there early, starting at 3 p.m. Grab a Milagrosa cocktail. Be a part of the live, passionate soccer atmosphere as the guys talk matchups and storylines. Don't miss this special live event with Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg on Friday, June 12th at Platt Deutsch in Franklin Square, Long Island. It's all brought to you by Milagro Tequila. We come back, Frank Isola. Stay right with us. ESPN New York.
Want to earn extra revenue for your business? Amazon Hub Delivery is looking for local business owners to assist with deliveries. When you become a partner, you and your staff will deliver packages to customers in your area on a schedule that works for you. With each package delivered, you'll gain extra revenue and exposure for your business. Plus, Amazon Hub Delivery makes it easy to get started. There's no upfront cost, delivery experience, or long-term contracts required. Sign up to learn more at Amazon.com/Hub Delivery. That's Amazon.com/HUB Delivery.
Big events are bringing more riders across the region. So if you're taking New Jersey Transit for everyday trips, plan ahead. Check schedules, allow extra time, and consider traveling outside of peak hours when you can. New Jersey Transit is running additional service to help keep everyone moving. But a little planning goes a long way. Stay aware, be courteous, and ride smart. New Jersey Transit, keeping your day on track. Plan your trip at njtransit.com.
If you're heading into summer without a medical emergency kit, you're taking a risk most people don't think about until it's too late. Summer colds linger and can turn into sinus infections that last for weeks. Getting sick right now before vacation can derail everything. And when you're traveling, finding a doctor and pharmacy is stressful. That's why I ordered a medical emergency kit. It's like having urgent care and a pharmacy right at home. It includes essential prescriptions like amoxicillin and generic Z-Pak to treat a wide range of common and serious illnesses. So if you wake up sick at home or on the road, you already have what you need. No waiting for your doctor, no hours at urgent care, no pharmacy lines, no copays. Just match your symptoms to the right prescription in your guidebook or call their telemedicine doctor standing by. Start on your meds sooner and feel better faster. Every home needs at least one medical emergency kit. Order yours online in minutes and it's shipped to your door. And save $45 with my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880. That's promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880.
Less than 4 in 10 kids aged 6 through 12 are playing sports regularly. 4 in 10 kids? Let it sink in. Just 4 in 10 kids. ESPN is building a nationwide coalition powered by Disney called Take Back Sports, with the purpose of training more coaches, expanding access, and creating community-driven sports programming that puts kids and fun first. We're working on that story. We hope you'll join us.
Visit takebacksports.org to learn more.
My dad passed away unexpectedly. Of course, it was awful in every way, but we are very grateful that he had life insurance. So even after he was gone, he was still able to provide for us. And that's why I have life insurance for my family. Ethos.com. They make it fast and easy to get covered. It's 100% online. You get a quote in seconds, and you can apply in minutes. You get covered the same day.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required. Rates may vary.
This is your home for the Eastern Conference champion New York Knicks and the NBA Finals. WHSQ and WCBS-FM HD2, New York.
Love talking to this guy. We've been friends forever since he was a young intern, summer intern at the New York Post, and now he's an accomplished superstar. Frank Isola has his own morning NBA show on Sirius XM with Brian Scalabrine, and he joins us now. Hi, Frank. How you doing?
Michael, how are you? I invoked your name. I did a podcast with Brian Curtis on The Ringer.
Okay.
And they were asking me about my start, and I talked about working at the Post, and you were, at the time, a college graduate, and you were working as a clerk. I was a summer intern. So I was, I would do a lot of your stuff. I loved working for a newspaper. Listen, now they pay a lot more in radio and TV, but I like working for newspaper. Were you the same? Did you feel the same way? I mean, I know you weren't in it as long as I was, but did you enjoy it?
I loved working for news. I love the competitive aspect of it as well. In this part of the business, obviously ratings become part of the competition. But to pick up the, when I'm working for the Post, to pick up the news to see if they had a story, I love that aspect of it. I really did. But they don't, as you know, they don't pay a lot of money in newspapers anymore.
No, and I really feel like everyone is missing out when newspapers aren't as big as they used to be, because it feels like there's more information out there than ever before, but a lot of it is misinformation. I kind of miss the old newspaper wars. And you were great, because back then, I remember, picking up the paper and you would have the story about Mattingly and his back, or you'd have something that George Steinbrenner was saying, I don't know, like pre-internet, pre-Twitter, like seeing those stories on the back page, it has such an impact,
I agree. I remember walking to the newsstand where I lived, and you turn over the news really slowly. What did Bill Madden have and stuff like that? But it was really exciting. But those newspaper wars don't exist anymore. So I'm asking you now. I know you love basketball. You covered the Knicks for a long time, good and bad times, and you love soccer. So what are you more excited about, the NBA Finals or the World Cup?
I'm glad they don't overlap that much. The amazing thing is, if there's a Game 7,
right,
which would be June 19th, that would be the same day when the U.S. plays their second game, which is kind of crazy because it's going to be a 3 o'clock Eastern time game. And that game is noon out on the West Coast. I'm not sure if they're playing that game in Seattle or L.A. I'm pretty sure it's Seattle. So that could be a heck of a day where we have Seattle, the U.S. playing. Yeah. And then there's a game on the 13th. Is that game? I'm pretty sure that's Game 5, where you have Morocco, Brazil here at MetLife. And I don't know, it's going to be nuts, Mike. There's going to be a lot of the stuff is going to overlap. So it's going to be the same thing happened in '94 when you had both the Rangers and the Knicks made the finals, and the World Cup was here as well.
So do you have tickets to any World Cup games?
Right now I got tickets to the round of 16, which would be in Philly, and then the next day I have the ticket for MetLife. I think getting to Philadelphia might be easier than getting to MetLife. There's going to be some issues. But I have a chance. I'm pretty sure one of the games, if both Germany and France were to win their group and then win the round of 32, they would play each other. That's like a heavyweight matchup for a round of 16. So it should be a lot of fun. Are you going to go to a game? I mean, you're a big shot. You have access to tickets.
I have listen, I don't have access to games 3 and 4 for the Knicks series. So, I mean, I'm going to have access to World Cup tickets. Not that you know me, I'm honest. I don't have that much interest in it, to tell you the truth.
Wait a second. I remember a famous quote from Michael Kay prior to Game 7. You attended Game 7, Rangers Canucks, right?
Yeah. You have
yes
some memory.
Yeah, you go. And it was a quote like, "I'm a big event guy" or something like that.
But it was Bob Raceman who wrote that. I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna."
Isn't that weird?
He said, "Why are you here?" I said, "I'm an event guy."
Hey, Mike, did you pick a good event to go to? They haven't won since then.
Yeah, right. So I figured I had to get in then while I was still young. What do you think about this matchup, Knicks and the Spurs?
I thought going into the Western Conference Finals, and I picked the Knicks all year long to make it to the finals. I think their road would have been a little bit tougher if Boston had won. I still think they would have beaten Boston, but they're probably not going to sweep Boston. But I thought going into the Western Conference Finals, I thought Oklahoma City would be the tougher opponent. But then Jalen Williams got hurt again, and then A.J. Mitchell got hurt also. So during, for better or worse, Jalen Williams is their second best player, and then during the playoffs, A.J. Mitchell was their second best player. So I don't know how much either of those guys would have played in the finals if they would have played at all. If I'm the Knicks, I would have been rooting for Oklahoma City to win Game 7 because now San Antonio comes in healthier. Now, the Knicks have done really well against San Antonio, including winning the NBA Cup. They played a really competitive game against them down in San Antonio. Then, of course, they beat them at Madison Square Garden. I thought going in, the Spurs would be a better matchup. But if you gave me the choice for Game 7, if I were the Knicks, I would have rather had Oklahoma City win. But I still give the Knicks a little bit of an edge. I think experience, just the core group of the Knicks being a little bit older, probably helps a little bit too. But obviously, trying to deal with Victor Wembanyama will be a challenge.
So let's talk about that and see if I'm way off on this. If you look at the games that the Spurs lose, Wemby is not great. And I think there's ways to contend with Wemby, put a lot of pressure on him, lean on him, tire him out. His former teammate, Jeremy Sohan, said that as well. You've got to tire him out. Don't get dirty, but make him feel it. So he disappears sometimes in games. So I think he had 3 bad games against the Thunder and 4 good ones. So if you could have him have 4 bad games, Frank, you should be able to win the series. Do you look at him that way?
No, I think it's a fair point. When he played, he averaged 29 minutes a game during the regular season, so he didn't play a lot. In fact, he played less minutes than a lot of guys that weren't even eligible to be voted on for regular season awards because they didn't reach 65 games. So, I think, his minutes were about 29 per game. Clearly it's gone up during the playoffs. And then, he played that double overtime game in Game 1 against Oklahoma City. He was really good. But to your point about the physical nature, I think in Game 5, against Oklahoma City, they lost that game. He was really frustrated. He didn't play well. He felt like he was getting beaten up. He was upset with the referees. He was upset with how physical the game was. He didn't talk to the media afterwards. He got reprimanded by the league for doing that. And then if you look at what he did the next 2 games, he was lights out. And he's got a little bit of a nasty edge to him, Mike. When he's walking up the court and he's telling Mason Plumlee and Bismack Biyombo, 2 veteran players, hey, when Jared McCain comes anywhere near you, make sure you hit him pretty good. And they did that. And then you see the way he is with his teammates. And I really do think he's got a little bit of that Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant mentality. He was mad that he didn't win MVP. He felt like he should have won it. And then you go look at the way that he played in those last 2 games. It tells you a lot about him. He was not happy after Game 5. There's 2 ways you could respond. You could sit back, be a baby about it, act like the victim, or you could come out swinging. And in those next 2 games, he was the emotional, vocal, physical leader of the San Antonio Spurs.
We talked about, both of us coming from the newspaper business. Just to deviate from the series for a moment, you mentioned he blew off the media, right? I thought that the NBA really was gutless in what they did. I'm not saying suspend him, but obviously give him a big fine. Don't give him a warning. He knows the rules of engagement. That was a terrible thing. And then when he threw the elbow, if you think he should have been, disciplined in some way, they didn't do anything. So I just don't think that David Stern would have allowed him to blow off the media and just give him a warning.
All right, so a couple of things. I don't really know what the rules are anymore. Guys leave the bench now and they don't get suspended. That used to be a cut and dry rule. It obviously cost the Knicks in '97 against Miami. It cost the Phoenix Suns a few years later against the San Antonio Spurs when Steve Nash got hip checked and Amari Stoudemire left the bench. The elbow in the Minnesota game, and I love Victor Wembanyama. I love everything about him, but that was so out of line. I definitely thought should have been a 1-game suspension. Now people are going to say, well, it happened early in the game and he So that kind of serves as that. No, like that. I mean, I know this. If he got elbowed in the face, people would want to see the player that did it suspended. So Naz Reid, who's a good competitive player, how do you think he feels getting whacked in the chops? And they don't suspend him. As for not speaking to the media, I agree with you. If you're going to sit there and you're going to address the media when you have a great game, you got to address the media after you go 4 for 19. But I also think, the culture in Europe is, the star players, great game, bad game, are not always required to speak with the media. They may get asked to do it, but a lot of times they'll just say no. And there's, of course, no locker room access over in Europe after soccer matches or basketball games. So I think that kind of factors into it too. But I agree with you. I thought they went soft on him, but to his credit, there was a lot. I think he was angry at a lot of things: the referees, the league, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the way that he responded. I thought that was really, really impressive.
Do you think? I mean, there's a lot. I thought that Oklahoma City really handled itself well. All the players, even in the day after. But do you think that Sam Presti has to make a major move because now San Antonio has moved ahead of them? I don't think they have to, simply because of the fact they did go 7 and they had 2 of their better players that were injured. Do you think they have to make a major move? People are talking about Giannis because they have the draft capital to do a deal like that. What would you do if you were Oklahoma City?
Well, the issue that they'll have is that, Wembanyama, barring injury, isn't going anywhere. Then I think if you look at their run, last year they beat Denver in a 7-game series, and Aaron Gordon was dealing with a hamstring injury. Michael Porter Jr., who since was traded to the Brooklyn Nets, had a shoulder injury. They went 7 there. In Game 7 against Indiana, they were losing, and Tyrese Halliburton had blown out his Achilles 7 minutes into the game. So they were a great team last year. They're a great team this year. But the margin between winning and losing, it's pretty small. So they've gone to 3 Game 7s over this run. And, they easily could have lost all 3. You could make the case that they could have won all 3. So I do think it's something that Sam Presti will look at. And I think what really has to be troublesome is the play of Chet Holmgren. So he took 2 shots in Game 7. His last 5 games, he did not take 10 shots. He took less than 10 shots in all 5 of those games. He had never gone on a 5-stretch span in his career where in at least one of those games he didn't take 10 shots. So what happened to him, and we're talking about the media, and Brian Scalabrine and I talked about it this morning on the show, and I think another thing with today's media, he spoke for 4 minutes after the game. Not one person said, Chet, what happened to you in this series?
Right.
Like everyone dances around the question. Chet Holmgren's an adult. Ask him, say, Chet, you were great last year in the finals. You just didn't play up to your standard against San Antonio. Were you carrying an injury? What was the problem? Because, Mike, his performance, and one thing, we know this from going back to John Starks in Game 7 against the Houston Rockets all the way back in '94 when he had that horrific game. Great players have had horrific games before. Even Steph Curry, the year they lost to Cleveland, did not have a great Game 7. Everyone is entitled to have a bad game. Chet Holmgren didn't compete in Game 7. I didn't feel like he wanted to be out there. That, to me, it's not like he went down swinging and he was, 3 for 15 and he just didn't have it that night. It looked like he wanted no part of Victor Wembanyama and he wanted no part of that game. That's the part that leads me to think, would they take a run at Giannis? And because I would think the next team that gets Giannis, because Giannis, and I love the guy, but he was a pain in the neck this year. Let's be fair. But I think you'd get a pretty fired up, dedicated guy for the next 3 years, which, let's face it, Oklahoma City has a chance to win clearly over the next 3 years.
We have Frank Isola, Sirius XM NBA show. What channel is that on in the morning?
Channel 86, Mike, and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
And what time is that?
We're on 7 to 10 every morning. Then it replays. So, Mike, I get up bright and early. You watch these games. Now there's no games for a while. There's only 7 games left in the season. But, Brian, I'm doing the net games on Yes. So I'm trying to build a case. I want people to feel sorry for me. I'm doing the net games on Yes, and Brian is doing the Celtic games. So a lot of times we're getting home from games, midnight, next morning, up talking about it. But it's only, it's radio, it's fun, it's only basketball.
Do not resort to drugs and wake yourself up. I don't want you to do that. I care too much about you.
No.
Okay.
No, you know what it is? You just see, you know this. Like as you get older, you just need a good night's sleep. Now that there's no games, Mike, I mean, I'll probably be in bed by like 9 o'clock tonight. Get a good night's sleep. You got younger kids, so you're not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, I did not have a good night's sleep. I got home at 3 after coming back from Sacramento, but nobody feels sorry for us because we have a great job. So let's get back to Knicks and the Spurs. So obviously Wemby is going to be a focal point, and you keep hearing they'll have OG on him. Don't you think that Mitch has to, like, if he can play, and I think he's going to play, really lean on him and make him work a lot too? How would you handle him if you're the Knicks?
It's interesting because I think if you go back to that NBA Cup Finals, we'll say Emirates NBA Cup, maybe you and I can get a free first-class ticket on Emirates Air.
Yeah, I'm good.
You know, Mitchell Robinson had 15 rebounds in that game. 10 of them were offensive. So he dominated. And really, anybody that I talked to, coaches and players, and you asked them about the Knicks, and they all said they'll have a chance to win the championship this year if Mitchell Robinson, plays well. And this is before the playoffs started. And he really hasn't been asked to do that much. But I do think they're going to need something out of him. Obviously, it's gotten off to a bit of a shaky start here with what happened to him in his pinky. And I love Mike Brown's what he said. It didn't happen in a game. It didn't happen in practice. So it's like, there you go, guys. Try to find out exactly how the guy broke his pinky. But I do think he's going to have to have a significant role. Now, we all know the issue with him, too. Once you're in the penalty and he's on the court, you could start fouling him. It throws off their rhythm offensively. He's not a good free throw shooter. I know that the Knicks, they bring in shooting coaches. Listen, a guy making free throws in an empty gym is not the same as doing it in a playoff game where there's pressure and, you have the fans, especially if you're on the road. So that's the one, obviously, weakness that they have. But I think you're onto something. I think he's going to have a pretty important role in this series if the Knicks are going to win.
We've been talking about the media a lot in this conversation, and I don't get what the Knicks did the day they announced that, he didn't break it in the game, he didn't break it in practice. Well, we're not going to get into specific. It's going to be out there, Frank. Somebody's going to say it. Somebody's going to find out how he did it. Why not just get it out of the way? What are we doing?
I get a feeling, and I remember this going back to when Latrell Sprewell showed up from the offseason with a broken hand and how upset Jim Dolan was. I have a funny feeling that a lot of people in the organization, coaches, coaching staff, front office, ownership, somebody in there was probably really, really ticked off that, we don't know how he did it. Obviously, there's mysterious circumstances surrounding it because they're not telling anybody. I think a lot of people in the organization must have been ticked off because they're thinking, we're on this incredible run, an historic run. We have all this off time. It's not like we're playing Game 6 and Game 7 where you could break your finger, somebody slaps down on your hand. It's like, guys, just be on your best behavior, control yourselves. We only have a maximum of 7 games left in our season, and we're 4 wins away from lifting the Larry O'Brien Trophy. They haven't been this close since they won Game 3 against San Antonio back in '99 when they trailed in that series 2-1. That year they were 3 wins away. So now you're only 4 wins away. It took you 27 years to get back to this point, and they don't want any nonsense. Listen, Jalen Brunson isn't showing up with a broken pinky from doing something stupid, and I would think that probably ticked off a lot of people in the organization, rightfully so.
All right, so how do you deal with Jalen Brunson? There's so many people that San Antonio could throw at him, so who do you think that they start with?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I would think Stephon Castle at times maybe. I would, certainly think Devin Vassell, sometimes Dylan Harper. Maybe I think Jalen Brunson could take advantage of that. And then, of course, the kid Julian Champagnie, who played at St. John's. In fact, we interviewed his father. His father was, I think I told you this, his father was on the St. John's team that won the 1996 national championship in soccer. His father's name is Ranford. We spoke to him. Great guy. But Champagnie is a terrific player who had to fight his way to stay into the league, and he had a huge Game 7 the other night. They could throw different bodies at you, and I would think there's certain turning points throughout the playoffs, not only games that the Knicks played in, but obviously trailing by 22 in Game 1 against Cleveland, and how Cleveland didn't realize that the only way the Knicks are getting back in this game is if Jalen Brunson brings them back. And if there's a similar situation, Michael, against San Antonio, the Knicks are not going to come back from 22 because San Antonio will throw everything at Jalen Brunson to make sure that he's not the one that beats them. I don't know how Cleveland allowed that to happen. I still think the Knicks would have won the series, but that would have made things a lot different.
All right, so you know Tibbs fairly well. And I had on Mark Jackson on Friday. And I said, what do you think Tibbs is thinking? Because you got fired by the Warriors and you see them go on to win a championship. He goes, listen, I'm going to be honest. I love the players that I coached. He said, but I wasn't, I was doing my job at that time for ESPN. I wasn't thrilled that they were winning championships after letting me go. And I would think Tibbs, being a human being, is not thrilled that they're in the finals. Do you think he is or not?
Yeah, I haven't spoken to him in a couple of weeks. I think it's got to be really hard. I think it's only natural what Mark is saying. It's human nature to feel that way, especially if you go back to that Warriors team. There was a couple of things that happened there, and one of them, it was underrated, was Mark convincing Andre Iguodala to sign there as a free agent. And you have to remember, players weren't dying to go play for the Golden State Warriors, even though it's a great part of the country to live in. But, Steph and Clay were still young. Draymond wasn't Draymond yet. But that was a key move. So Mark did a lot building that. And I'll tell you something else, too. Mark was the guy who said Steph Curry and Klay Thompson are the greatest shooting backcourt in history. And everyone looked at Mark like, come on, dude. What are you talking about? That's not even true. So Mark did an unbelievable job. Do I think they would have won a championship with Mark as a coach? Absolutely. And Steve Kerr did a great job. But remember, when Steve missed those games, Mike, with the bad back, didn't Luke Walton go like 39-2 or something like that?
Yep.
They had great teams. So do I think the Knicks would have gone to the finals with Tom? Yes, especially this year. People always tend to forget. If you look at what they've done the last 2 years, they beat the defending champs last year. And they beat them in 6 games where they won the first 2 on the road. That was the toughest opponent that they've had to play over the last 2 years. I would also suggest the second toughest opponent they had to play was Indiana with Tyrese Halliburton, and they had the second best record in the NBA from January 1st on. Number 1 was Oklahoma City, and the 2 teams, of course, ended up meeting in the finals. So the road last year was tougher, but Mike Brown came in under the condition, getting to a conference final. Yeah, you better do that. You better get to an NBA finals. So the Knicks, no matter how you cut it, they've delivered, but how can Tom not feel the same way that Mark Jackson felt? Like, you helped build it. It's right there on the verge of happening, and then you're not the coach.
Now, I know you're locked in the NBA, and I don't understand one thing, and maybe you have some clarity that you could give me. Why is it that Jackson and Van Gundy, after they were let go by ESPN, have not been able to get head coaching jobs?
I really think that in today's NBA, I think the front offices want to have a lot more control over the coach. Now, do I think in Miami, Pat Riley has a lot of say over Eric Spoelstra? I don't think so. In Indiana with Rick Carlisle, I don't think that's the case. Is there communication, suggestions? 100%. But I've heard in some of these places, they tell the coach, this guy has to play more. You got to play this guy less. He's going to sit out for X amount of games because he's injured. How anybody would not hire, and Sean Sweeney's a good coach, don't get me wrong, but if you're the Orlando Magic, Jeff has all the experience in the world. He's proved. Go ask Ty Lue what he thinks about him, who he's worked for a couple of years. Go ask the players on the Clippers what they think about him. It's ridiculous. It's a little unfair, but I also think that a lot of it's 2 things. The GMs, I think, want to have a little bit more say, and everyone wants to be the team that finds like the young coach and hires them. I know one team that didn't do it, St. John's. How to work out for them? But, Rick Pitino's older than both Jeff and Mark Jackson. In fact, Mark played for Rick, and Jeff worked for Rick when he was a grad assistant at Providence. So only in our country, Mike, do we look at older people. Our culture is we look at people who are older and think that they're out of touch, right? It's the same thing with recycled coaches. You don't think that Mark Jackson would be a better coach now than he was when he first came up? Look at Jason Kidd, Nets, Milwaukee, assistant coach with the Lakers, head coach of Dallas. You don't think that experience helps? Everyone calls it recycled. I think it's experience. Same thing with Jamal Mosley going from Orlando. Now he's on New Orleans, and look at Mike Brown, all the different stops he's been at. I guarantee you Mike Brown will say, I'm a better coach today than I was when I first had a job.
Frank Isola, SiriusXM, is our guest. Before I let you go, we know that Brunson's going to have to play well because Brunson is the engine of the Knicks. Tell me a player other than Brunson and Cat, that has to step up for the Knicks to win this title?
You know what? I would think it'd be OG Anunoby because I think defensively he's going to be important. You know, he's big and strong. Like, you look at one thing about San Antonio, even though they're young, they have like a bunch of dogs out there. Like, those guys are pit bulls. They play hard. That kid Stephon Castle is terrific. Dylan Harper has been great. The kid Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, and even Wembanyama, look at this tall, skinny guy. You don't think he's going to be ferocious, but he goes out there and competes. I think that OG Anunoby, I think he's got to have a good series. And what's interesting, if you go back to, OG Anunoby has a championship ring with Toronto, but he didn't play during that run. He got hurt. So I think for him, I think there's a lot of vindication because his team in Toronto won a championship without him, and he's been really, really good for the Knicks. He's a terrific defensive player. Listen, he's a little moody at times, but just like, even Mikal Bridges can be like that a little bit, but none of that matters. All that matters is that come playoff time, the last 2 years, all these guys have been good, and the Knicks have been terrific, and it just kind of feels like it's their time.
Good stuff, Frank. As always, I appreciate you giving me some time, and hopefully we'll talk soon.
All right, Mike. Good luck in game. Hope you get tickets to Game 3.
Thank you, my friend. That's Frank Isola. He has a show on SiriusXM with Brian Scalabrine, and they break down the NBA from day to day. Good stuff, and it starts at, as he said, 7 in the morning. All right, so we're going to open it up to you, 1-800-919-3776. We've had two great guests today. I still haven't even talked about that Yankee third inning in Sacramento yesterday. I'll get into that. It's the K Show rolling until 3 right here on ESPN New York. Hey, FanDuel is giving you better payouts on same-game parlays all NBA playoffs long with more ways to build and more value every time you play. You could stack your picks your way for every game, every matchup, and every moment. From spreads to player points to threes and more, build it all into one same-game parlay and go for bigger payouts. So if you're betting same-game parlays this NBA postseason, bet them on FanDuel. More options, better payouts, all NBA playoffs long. Head to FanDuel.com/local to get started. FanDuel, an official partner of the NBA. Play your game, 21 plus and physically present in New York. For help with the gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Replacing your home's AC system isn't exactly pocket change. Let's be real. Most people don't have thousands of dollars just lying around. And that's why Slomin's makes staying cool affordable. Right now, Slomin's central air conditioning makes it easier than ever to upgrade without blowing your budget. Get 0 down, 0 payments, and 0% financing for up to 18 months. Plus, every new system comes with a 5-year all-inclusive service plan, including annual system maintenance, filter replacements, and refrigerant. So there are no surprise costs down the road. Whether your system is outdated, your electric bills are through the roof, or your AC finally called it quits, Slomin's has a solution that works and a payment plan that actually makes sense. Call 516-932-7000. That's 516-932-7000. Or visit ac.slomans.com to schedule your free estimate today. Slomin's Central Air Conditioning. Because comfort shouldn't come with a price you can't afford. 18-month promo period. No payment, no interest, and no down payment offer. The offer is available through a third-party bank. On approved credit, interest is waived if loan is repaid in full during the same as cash period. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, New York, are you okay to drive? Did you know that driving under the influence isn't just limited to drinking alcohol? Cannabis, prescription drugs, and street drugs can all impair your ability to think and react behind the wheel. Drugs, alone or combined with alcohol, can cause poor coordination and lack of focus. Don't put your life on the line or take someone else's away. Cabs, rideshare, or public transportation are at your fingertips. The New York State Governor's Traffic Safety Committee is reminding you to make a safe choice. Always drive sober.
Summer's here. People are outside walking more, traveling, going to games, barbecues, the beach, just enjoying life. But if you have joint pain, sciatica, or back pain is still holding you back, you don't have to live like that. I'm Bart Scott, and Dr. J. Shaw at Sandwell Pain is the real deal. Ivy League trained, double board certified with non-surgical treatments that get real results. No cuts, no downtime, no pain medications, just a smart, targeted approach that gets you moving again. Same day or next day appointments are available. Go to SandwellPain.com. Don't let pain steal your summer.
No matter your age or career stage, SUNY Canton delivers education at the speed of life. With flexible, fully online degree programs, you can earn your credential on your schedule. Ready to get started? Apply now for a summer start in high-demand programs like applied psychology, cybersecurity, healthcare management, and more. Our admissions team is ready to help you review transfer credits, explore degree options, choose courses, and navigate every step of enrollment. Email admissions@canton.edu today or visit canton.edu to learn more.
If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, then you need a lawyer who knows New York's unique personal injury and workers' compensation laws. At the Parisman Firm, they have decades of experience handling all types of accident cases and a proven track record of delivering huge results. Their team has already recovered nearly $1 billion for injured New Yorkers. From construction to car accidents and slips and falls, they've got you covered. Call the Parisman Firm now at 718-WORKERS, where your case is their cause. Get the justice you deserve today.
Smoltz here. If you're heading into summer without a medical emergency kit, you're taking a risk most people don't think about until it's too late. Summer colds can turn into sinus infections that last weeks, ruining your perfect vacation getaway. And when you're traveling, finding a doctor and a pharmacy, it's stressful. That's why I ordered a medical emergency kit. It's like having an urgent care and a pharmacy at home. It includes prescriptions like amoxicillin and generic Z-Pak to treat a wide range of illnesses. So if you wake up sick, at home, or on the road, you have what you need. No waiting for your doctor, no hours at urgent care, and no pharmacy lines. Also, no copays. Match your symptoms to the right prescription in your guidebook or call their telemedicine doctor. Start meds sooner and feel better faster. Every home needs a medical emergency kit, so order yours online in minutes. It's shipped right to your door. Save $45 with my promo code SMALLS at urgentcarekit.com/SMALLS. That's promo code SMALLS at urgentcarekit.com/SMALLS.
Prescription required. Always consult your doctor to determine if this product is right for you.
Hey, subscribe to ESPN New York on YouTube. Stream the full Weekday Lineup live. Watch complete replays or catch up fast with can't miss highlights. Jump into the live chat, react in real time, and make your voice part of the show. Subscribe to ESPN New York on YouTube now and stay locked in so you never miss a moment. One other football bit of news. Russell Wilson, according to Adam Shine, is indeed signing a contract to be a member of the NFL Today on CBS. So his football career is over. There was some looked like there was a flirtation there with the Jets for a bit, where he visited the Jets facility. But Russell Wilson looks like he's going to make the move to CBS. I think it's a smart move for him. He is already living in the area, so this is where he wants his family to be. The NFL Today is done on 57th Street in Manhattan, so he could stay here as long as he wants. Good-looking guy, speaks well, obviously could have a long career in this if he's forthright and honest, and it's a good landing spot for him, and I think it's a good decision because what more does he have to prove? Went to 2 straight Super Bowls. If not for a bad call by Pete Carroll, he had won 2 straight. Instead, he wins 1. He's got a Hall of Fame argument, and now move on to the next step, and the next step is broadcasting. So a lot of football stuff today, as we told you. Odell Beckham Jr. signs with the Giants. JuJu Smith-Schuster signs with the Giants. Myles Garrett traded from the Browns to the Rams for 2027 first-round draft pick, and Jared Verse. So the guy who broke the single-season sack record with 23 last year moves on to the LA Rams, the 2025 Defensive Player of the Year, and a guy with 125.5 career sacks. This is one of the all-time greats, and the Rams get him, and it looks like he's still at the top of his game. All right, so the Yankees won yesterday 13-8 over the A's. It's a strange game in that other than the third inning where the Yankees sent 18 men to the plate, every other inning in the game, all the other 8 innings, the Yankees sent the minimum 3 batters to the plate. The only base runner they had was the leadoff walk in the 6th inning by Cody Bellinger, and he was erased on a double play ground ball off the bat of Trent Grisham. So it all happened in 1 inning. And I'll give you the inning very quickly. Volpe single, Schumann walk, Wells walk, infield single RBI by Goldschmidt, 2-run double down the first base line, Ben Rice, RBI single, bloop single to center field by Judge, single by Bellinger, bases loaded, still nobody out. Caballero walks in a run. Then Trent Grisham ends up making let's see. Oh, no. Caballero with a walk and an RBI. Then Trent Grisham, a 2-run single to center field. Then Volpe comes up again, dunks an RBI single through a drawn-in infield to center field. Then Schumann comes up, RBI double down the left field line. Wells walks again. Goldschmidt makes the first out when he strikes out looking. Then Ben Rice triples off the right center field wall, 2 more RBIs. So his inning, double, triple, 4 RBIs, 2 runs scored. Judge strikes out, RBI single by Bellinger, another single by Caballero, and then the inning finally ends with Grisham flying out to right field. Now, when Caballero singled to right center field, I think if Bellinger knew that 14 runs was the Yankee team record sent back in 1920, he scores easily on that Caballero single to right center field. He was kind of jogging in the third base. Yankees already had 13 runs. I don't think he knew. Obviously, how could he have known? I don't think anybody in the dugout knew that the record for one inning was 14 runs. But he ended up on third, and Caballero ended up on second. And the odd part was Volpe was on deck to bat for the third time that inning. Third time that inning. Just amazing. So the Yankees ended up winning 2 out of 3 in Sacramento. They started the trip by sweeping the Kansas City Royals. And a good road trip for the Yankees, 5-1. They're off today. They're a game and a half behind Tampa Bay, 3 in the loss column. So it's getting tight. And that third inning was definitely one for the ages. And if you could see on the YouTube, that's how the third inning looked. Right there is how the third inning looked. I put it up on social media yesterday. But what you do when you're keeping scores, you have to use the fourth inning and then make that the third inning and then make the fifth inning the fourth inning, the sixth inning. Anyway, you get it. But it was a fun game to announce, a fun inning to announce. And, you know, with baseball, you never know what you're going to see that you haven't seen before. And that was certainly it. Will Warren ended up going 6 innings, didn't give up any earned runs. He gave up 3 unearned runs on a drop fly ball. A tough play, but a drop fly ball by Grisham. So 3 unearned runs in the first inning. The Yankees came back with the 13 runs in the third. So Warren goes to 7-1, and the Yankees are 10-2 in his starts so far this year. And we mentioned the Mets earlier. Their offense came alive. The Marlins swept them down in Miami the prior weekend, and the Mets couldn't hit in that series. But they hit in this series. A grand slam yesterday by Soto, who's certainly going off. Of late, Mets win 10-1, and with that win, the Mets move out of last place in the East. Marlins drop into last place. 1 game in the loss column separates them, and now the Mets will meet the Mariners on this road trip. They'll be off on Thursday, and then they'll play 3 games against San Diego, who amazingly, if you look at their stats, San Diego can't hit, but they're right there with the Dodgers in the National League West. Very, very odd. One final thing I want to say about Sacramento. I did not go on that trip last year, and I ended up going this year. And I heard so many bad things about that ballpark. And I've got to tell you, listen, I didn't play there. I'm not the one who doesn't have a batting facility behind the dugout or a place to walk. I mean, during that 13-run inning, Will Warren had to jog back out to the bullpen to start throwing again because it was over 41 minutes long, that inning. But they do a great job at the ballpark. It is a major league facility that's a minor league capacity. So they have about 14,000 seats they could sell. The town is incredibly proud that there's Major League Baseball there for 3 years, and it was lovely. For lack of a better phrase, it was lovely. They did a wonderful, wonderful job making that facility Major League ready. You could see yesterday in a day game, a lot of the outfielders on both teams had a lot of trouble because when there's no upper deck, there's no background to catch a fly ball. And there was not a cloud in the sky, so there was nothing to really judge the ball against, and a lot of them fell in. And most of it was to the Yankee benefit, but some fell in to the A's benefit as well. And one final thing I'll tell you, and I've said this before, everybody, American League is awful, just awful. The Royals were overmatched by the Yankees. The Yankees won all 6 against the Royals. The Yankees ended up splitting 6 games against the A's, but the A's aren't good. There's just a lot of bad teams in the American League. There are a lot of bad teams in the American League. Be an interesting matchup starting tomorrow. The Guardians come in, and the Guardians are playing quite well once again and leading the American League Central. And we'll see what they do. And tomorrow is a Cam Schlittler start for the Yankees, so I'm looking forward to that. But I said this before, the Yankees don't even have to be at the top of their game, and they can literally win 95 games sleeping, playing most of their games in this league. This league is dreadful, just dreadful. Let's go to Fred in Westchester. Fred.
Hey, Michael. Two quick
Fred.
points. One on hey, Michael. 2 quick points. One Knicks and one Yankee Stadium scoreboard.
Okay.
Knicks. I'm adding to your point about how fast, speedy the San Antonio guards are, and they're gonna molest Jalen Brunson, give him a lot of trouble. But the other thing is the fast break. So often you get a rebound outlet to Brunson, and then they're off and running, and that's how their defense turns into offense. These guards are really quick, so I'm not sure we're going to get a lot of fast break points, and that's significant. That's
so you
my
sound like
first
you like the
point. I don't know if
Spurs.
No, I think there are challenges. I think the Knicks in 6, but it won't be easy. It's not going to be easy, and I'm a Knicks fan for almost 70 years.
And I would agree it's not going to be easy, but I'm like you. I feel that the Knicks will win, but it will not be easy. This is the best team they'll play in the playoffs.
Yeah, and the second point is I'm a partial season ticket holder, 20 games, and I'm there. And I was there the night that Dominguez crashed into the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Not once did the scoreboard show that replay. And they never show any controversial replays or good replays for the other team. Now, there's no way in my mind that the paying customer should not get what the fan at home sees and you see on the monitor or the fan at home sees on the television sets. How would the Yankees justify that the fact that they never show any replays on their scoreboard to the fans in the stadium?
They never show like replays of good Yankee things either?
Only good Yankee things. Only good Yankee things.
So what do you want? I mean, I guess they didn't want to show an injury. Maybe they didn't want to do that. But I'll talk to the guys at the scoreboard. It's a fair point. But you want them to show highlights of the other team too when they do something well?
Well, anything that's that's under review,
right.
I would like to see. But yes, I'd like to see not necessarily a home run, but anything that if you're in the stadium and you don't have access to you or the radio broadcast, you want to know what's going on, and you're more in the dark than the people at home, and that can be rectified. So I just for the life of me, I can't understand how they would justify. Now the Dominguez situation, you obviously showed it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Because I went home and watched it. I watch everything, every game I go to, I watch on replay. And I'd like to know, what was happening to him. I didn't know he hit his face. I saw his little outfield cheat sheet come down. I thought that was the ball at first because it was a white thing. Mm-hmm. Then I realized it wasn't. So again, it's a question of how do they justify keeping the fans in the stadium, paying customers in the dark when everybody else knows what's happening.
Well, it's a fair point. I'll ask the people who are great people that run the scoreboard. I would think that they just didn't want to show an injury because we didn't know how injured he was, how serious it was. It turned out to be, an AC joint sprain, and he's going to start his comeback shortly. But you certainly, and as for like replay, they do show every single replay. Anything that's under review, they do show on the scoreboard. And worst comes to worst, there are monitors all over the ballpark that's playing the Yes Network feed. So if you feel like an innate need to see a replay, you can scramble up to where a monitor is. I know you don't want to leave your seat. I get it. I'm not arguing with you. I will check with them, but I don't think they're going to be showing like highlights of 3-run home runs by the other team. I don't think there's a home scoreboard that does that. It just doesn't make sense to do it because most of the people in the ballpark are fans of the home team. 1-800-919-3776. Let's finish it up strong with your phone calls. Knicks, Mets, Yankees, the NFL moves today. Odell Beckham is back as a Giant. It's all on the table. And in the next segment, you certainly will become the co-host as we take you right up to Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg right here on ESPN New York.
Partner with Amazon Hub Delivery to earn extra revenue for your business with your business. Assist with local Amazon deliveries and get paid for each package you deliver. When you become a partner, you and your staff will deliver packages to customers in your area on a schedule that works for you. You'll gain extra revenue, increase exposure for your business, and connect with your neighbors. Plus, it's easy to get started with no delivery experience, long-term contracts, or startup costs required. If you're interested in learning more, visit Amazon.com/Hub Delivery. That's Amazon.com/HUB Delivery.
If you're heading into summer without a medical emergency kit, you're taking a risk most people don't think about until it's too late. Summer colds linger and can turn into sinus infections that last for weeks. Getting sick right now before vacation can derail everything. And when you're traveling, finding a doctor and pharmacy is stressful. That's why I ordered a medical emergency kit. It's like having urgent care and a pharmacy right at home. It includes essential prescriptions like amoxicillin and generic Z-Pak to treat a wide range of common and serious illnesses. So if you wake up sick at home or on the road, you already have what you need. No waiting for your doctor, no hours at urgent care, no pharmacy lines, no copays. Just match your symptoms to the right prescription in your guidebook or call their telemedicine doctor standing by. Start on your meds sooner and feel better faster. Every home needs at least one medical emergency kit. Order yours online in minutes and it's shipped to your door. And save $45 with my promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880. That's promo code 880 at urgentcarekit.com/880.
Hey, it's Alan Hahn. At Rings End, they're there to help realize your modern design visions. That's why they partner with Marvin. Engineered for big ideas, Marvin modern windows and doors deliver effortless elegance, expansive views, and industry-leading innovation, all in a modular system designed to meet the exacting principles of modern architecture. Experience Marvin Modern at a Rings End showroom today and create something stunning with them. Rings End is a certified Marvin installing retailer.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
Rich Eisen here with some advice. If high-interest credit card debt is grinding you down, it might be time to call an audible with a SoFi personal loan. It consolidates your debt into one low monthly payment with no fees required. And with as soon as the same-day funding, you can make the right play fast. Call an audible on your debt today at SoFi.com/debtplay. Loans originated by SoFi Bank N.A., member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. NMLS 696891. Fast funds terms apply at SoFi.com/debtplay.
When's the last time payroll was the easy part of your week? With Gusto, it can be. Gusto is the all-in-one platform designed to take the hassle out of managing your team, from payroll and compliance to hiring, onboarding, and more. With Gusto, you can get back 2 full days each month with all the time you have saved. Go to gusto.com today and learn why over 500,000 small businesses choose Gusto. That's GUSTO.com. Gusto.com.
This July 16th through 19th, the biggest weekend in sports takes over New York City, and Fanatics Fest puts you at the center of it all. The world's #1 sports fan festival returns to the Javits Center with 500-plus athletes, celebrities, and sports legends all under one roof. Get closer than ever with autographs and photo ops, live panels and podcasts, exclusive merch drops, the tailgate zone, rare collectibles, and nonstop action across every major league. Enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets in the ESPN New York app. Find the contest to submit your entry.
Welcome back to the show. I wanted to tell you a quick funny story, which I actually told on the air yesterday on the game. Not sure that everybody, not everybody that listens to the show is a Yankee fan. So the area behind home plate, the warning track area, like by the screen, in most ballparks, and in the Sutter Health Park in West Sacramento also has this. They kind of rope it off, and people that somehow got down there, they watch batting practice up close. Sometimes the players stop for autographs. And that's the way that if you're going up to the broadcast booth, you walk behind those people, and then you walk up an alleyway behind home plate. And so people will stop you for autographs, whatever the case may be. And there was a young man who came up to me and said, "Can I have your autograph?" I said, "Absolutely." So he gave me a baseball card to sign. And I looked at the card, and it was David Cone. And it was David Cone's baseball card. And I said, "You sure you want me to sign this?" He goes, "Yes, Mr. Cone, I want you to sign that." I said, "But I'm not David Cone." He goes, "Well, you look an awful lot like David Cone." I said, "Listen, I'll sign anything you want me to sign, but if you think I'm David Cone, I'm not signing David Cone. I'll sign my name, but that sounds silly or looks silly if I sign my name on David's card." And the guy goes, "Mr. Cone, if you don't want to sign, just say you don't want to sign." I said, "I'm not David Cone." And he said, "Okay, if that's the way you want to be." I said, "The way I want to be, I'm not David." The thing that I don't understand, I don't look anything like David. Anything. I'm probably 8 inches taller than David, and we don't have any similar facial features. I mean, people say that I look like Kurt Schilling. That I can see. I can actually see when somebody mistakes me for Kurt Schilling. Kind of the same hairline, big forehead, long face. I get it. Now, I wouldn't sign a Kurt Schilling card just because I look like him. But the guy, I think, is mad at David Cone, thinking that I'm David Cone because I wouldn't sign the card. And David said on the air, "I would have signed it." He said, "I just would have signed your name if somebody gave me a Michael K card and they thought it was me." And I think that would be wrong. Now, Don Burke, who has since retired, used to cover the Yankees for one of the Jersey papers. And he looks a lot like me. So in the old Yankee Stadium, when you'd walk into the press gate, there were police lines on each side, and fans would line up out there, and they would yell out for you, and they'd yell out for players. Most of the players didn't stop. They go right to their car. Some did. Then they would yell out to me, and I would always stop because if anybody wants my autograph, who am I to say, no, I'm just flattered and honored that anybody would want it. But they would yell out to Don Burke, "Hey, Michael, come over and sign an autograph." And Don, after a while, started to get tired of it, and he just started flipping people off. And people to this day that would see Don Burke and think it was me and see him flip people off thought, "Wow, Michael K is a complete jackwagon." So I have that going for me. But I don't think anybody out there within the sound of my voice actually believes I look anything like David Cone. Let's go to Dylan in Homestead, Florida. Dylan.
Hey, Michael. How you doing this afternoon?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Fantastic. So actually, I was able to get, or my best friend's dad was able to get us 2 tickets to Game 4 at Madison Square Garden. And I'm so excited. I've actually never been to a Knicks game at Madison Square Garden because I'm from Miami. I'm not from New York. But because of them, I'm a Knicks fan. I'm super excited. We're going up next Tuesday to Friday. I mean, my heart gets racing thinking about it. I get goosebumps thinking about it. It's a special run. It's a special team. And it's a special fan base and a great city. So I'm super thrilled. I'm thinking that the Knicks could win this game. If I'm being fair, I'd say 6 because the Spurs team, you got to give them credit. Some people think, oh, the Knicks will sweep them. I'm like, no, they're talented. It is interesting to see how the matchup will work now with Robinson having the injury and what we're going to do about Wemby and stuff. Should be able to spread the floor with Towns on the outside, forcing Wemby to go out if he's on him or not. But I'm just excited. I can't wait. I wish it was Wednesday already just to get the series going.
I want to get inside Dylan from Homestead's mind. You ready? I don't know if you're a man of wealth. I have no idea. Okay? And it's not my business. But what happens, you have that ticket for Game 4, and somebody offers you $20,000 for that ticket. Would you sell it?
Well, I don't think so, because here's the thing. My best friend's dad, the one who got it through the family that has tickets to the Knicks, so they got some deal worked out, right? Mm-hmm. He lived there when the Knicks won in 70 and 73. He went to the finals, I think in 73 when they won. He was at one of those teams. And he's like, look, you guys deserve this. I've known this family, my best friend, for like 25 years, and I'm 30. So, he's like my brother. That's awesome. So he's like, you guys deserve this. You guys go. I didn't even realize his dad wasn't coming until like the next day. He told us Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals that we're going, if we win, whatever, we'll get the tickets, whatever. I was shocked. I'm like, you're not even going? He's like, no. He's like, you guys, go have a blast, have fun, and enjoy it. So I'm very, very thankful for them. He's awesome. I love him so much. And shout out to Xavier and their family. They're awesome people.
Well, have a great time, man. I'm envious of you. That is so cool. And, when I asked the 20,000, you might roll your eyes, but don't roll your eyes. Because before the matchup was even set, the first game at Madison Square Garden, Darren Ravel, the business reporter, reported this on social media, that 2 pairs of courtside tickets were sold for $250,000. Think about that. Now, if somebody could pay $250,000 to go to a game, obviously they're so incredibly wealthy that $250,000 means nothing to them. Because I find it hard to believe that somebody would empty their bank account that has $250,000 in it to pay for those tickets. So this guy, the person who bought this, guy or gal, probably is a multi-millionaire, like in the hundreds of millions of dollars, and it means nothing to him or her. But if somebody's offering that kind of money for a courtside seat, let's just say a decent seat in the lower bowl of the Garden, you can get $20,000 for a ticket. And what if the Knicks won the first 3 games of the series and game 4 could be the clincher? Wow, that the price would go up exponentially. Ed in Cortland, talk to me, Ed.
It's funny. I was in Yankee Stadium of all places. It had to be about 25, 30 years ago. Some girl walks up to me and says, "Can I have your autograph?" And I go, "Who do you think I am?" She goes, "Well, you're Jim Belushi, the brother."
Do you
and
look
I
like
said,
Jim?
I'm really not. I don't think so. But she,
Okay.
so I, it was a ball. I signed it. I signed it, Jim Belushi. So as far as she knows, I must have told her 2 or 3 times. It was just funny that you brought it up because it was actually at Yankee Stadium. I was in the hallways of the old stadium.
That's amazing.
I made her happy. She probably still has it. I want to get your opinion on the Knicks game. To me, it feels a lot like when the Red Sox beat the St. Louis, because the enormity of what they did to the Yankees in 2004 was very similar to the way the Knicks, I think, went through their run. Different circumstances, but the enormity was that big. And at that point, if they weren't going to beat the Cardinals, when were they going to win? So I kind of feel like that's how Knicks fans feel going into this. What do you think?
Well, I don't know, because obviously the Red Sox hadn't won since 2018. So it was a much longer drought than 1973, although 1973 is a significant drought. I hope there's not a letdown. I hope the Knicks fans are just as pumped up. They haven't won anything yet. They do put up Eastern Conference final banners, but the banner you want to put up is an NBA title. So I don't look at this as a kind of an aftermath, or a letdown. Nothing like that. I don't feel like that at all. So I don't see the parallel, because also in 2004 the Red Sox, it was incredible. They came back from down 3-0 to get into the World Series against a Yankee team that had been to the World Series 6 times, 7 times in the last 9 years. So I don't look at it that way. The Knicks steamrolled over Cleveland, and it's all about the championship now. So I don't think this is a letdown game or anticlimactic at all. No, I don't see the parallel, Ed. And that girl probably tried to sell that to an autograph hound. This Jim Belushi's autograph, and the expert said, no, I think this is Ed's autograph. So I don't think I would ever sign an autograph just because the person insists. I would probably take out my license and go, look, I'm not David Cohn, but I am not Don Hahn and Rosenberg. But boy, a lot of people want to be them because they're smart, they're handsome, and they're very, very good talk show hosts. Coming up in just a moment, so stay tuned for that. I'll be back again tomorrow at 1. In the words of Billy Joel, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. I'm afraid it's time for goodbye again. See everybody. Have a wonderful rest of the afternoon.
The Knicks.
This is a team that is very talented and is playing its absolute highest level of basketball.
The Spurs.
The Knicks have been completely unstoppable.
The NBA Finals.
They will play for the Larry O'Brien Trophy.
I talk about how great we are. That doesn't matter. We just got to worry about being ourselves and just stay locked in and, go win.
NBA Finals Game 1 coverage begins Wednesday night at 7 on 880 and the ESPN New York app.
New York is headed to the championship, and when you watch a team play this well, you can tell. It starts with how they're built. Depth, leadership, execution, doing the little things right. That's how Tricon Construction